So, the Rumble.
So, coming off the back of Royal Rumble 2021, Carl. Now, I think we both have some opinions on this, which is why we need a quick reaction video. So we are literally, for us here on this side of the pond, it is like 4 a.m. because we're dedicated. But we need to have a quick talk about what's gone on. So, I think we need to embrace the fact that we had Drew versus Goldberg, right? Opening the show, and I think we were both very fucking nervous that it was opening the show and what that might imply. And we got what was surprisingly a good match. Like, and I don't mean anything to that, but it was a short match.
Well, the big takeaway for me was it was shorter than I expected, which is saying a lot because obviously Goldberg does like 7-8 minute matches, and this was about 5 minutes.
Thing is, I was shocked, like, because I'll start by saying I'm glad the result went as it did. I'm glad it was a clean finish, and it was actually not bad for the bits you saw, right? What I was really shocked at is Goldberg looked fucking just exhausted.
It was weird that, like
him going, like, it looked like a big thing. He was like struggling to go up the ramp. He was sweating everywhere. Like, I was a bit like, Jesus, he was proper blown out from a match that was short.
It was so like over the top. It felt like it was going somewhere. Like we were going to see something with the Miz or something.
That's the thing. It felt like it was going to be a thing.
Never happened.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm pleased with the results, and I'll spoil it now, but I'm pleased to say that there was no implications to the Rumble, which I'm really fucking glad. Right. So the next match we had, Carl, we had Carmella going up against Sasha Banks.
Really good, yeah.
Really good match. I think we both commended Carmella right the way through. No offense, Sasha's obviously she's always ace. She's had a really good run this time with the championship belt, but she's one of the 4 horsewomen. She's always been known for being a great wrestler. But I think you made the comments that Carmella in recent years has really proven that she has that championship material.
No, definitely. I think this new gimmick that she's got as well. I think we've spoken about it at length. It's not really a massive step on, but it's like a refinement of who she is as a character, and she's no longer like Long Island Carmella, but she's like just refined it so much to the point where she feels like a main event star, which she didn't feel that way when she was like, leopard print kind of moonwalking Carmella. Do you know what I mean? So I think she's finally hit home, and to be fair, you picked her to win because you could see that, and
I actually want.
So I think that speaks volumes in itself that she's kind of come a long way, and the match was great, and I love the fact that they dismissed what's his face from the ringside because that was like the big.
Yeah, it didn't become about
exactly.
Him.
So like early on, it was a lot of stuff going on with him, and like he caught her and all that kind of stuff, and then straight away it was like you're gone, and that kind of turned it around a little bit. So I thought it was good, solid match.
Indeed. And to be fair, I think at this point, the right winner, and we'll move on to the next one, Carl, which was the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, I'll sort of tie it in, and we'll say who the winner was right away. We can talk about the Rumble, but I think it's important because obviously Sasha's still the champ, and we're going to move now towards a match that I think we both really wanted. So we saw Bianca Belair ultimately take the win on this. So first of all, I think it's just to say like that is going to be an absolute banger of a match. I think it was the right choice. I think something we both wanted to see was Belair go up against Banks, which looks like.
I mean, I really hope so. Awesome. Like, how annoying would it be if they have her pick fucking Asuka or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, it will be amazing to see Banks and Belair. Like, that is a match that I am down to see. I'm a big fan of stylistic matchups, and this is one that I want to see. Make it happen.
And I think it's a credit to Belair. She came in at number 3. She came in at number 3 and actually went and took the win. I don't know. This might be unfair, Carl, because we're just coming off the back of maybe some unhappy things that happened in the Men's Royal Rumble. But I dare say the Women's Royal Rumble was a better Rumble.
Do you know what?
This year. It was better for the surprises. It was better for the finish, and it was better overall just for the structure of the Rumble itself. I actually enjoyed the Women's Rumble.
Yeah, 100%. I thought they had the perfect balance of everything you've just said, like surprise return. So Victoria Jillian Hall. Like, what the fuck?
Like Victoria was a particular, like Jillian Hall was a bit of
Yeah.
like a what, but Victoria was a proper notable one, wasn't it? Like she is a proper ledge and like a proper nostalgia pop for us, I
No,
suppose, in
definitely.
that sense. But we also got to see the likes of Tori Wilson and Mickey James, and
Yeah.
that's still rocking up as
Alicia
well.
Fox won 24/7 title. Something
Alicia
which you
Fox,
have
I know
proclaimed.
they actually went for that dual spot. I was
So they
absolutely
finally
floored.
did it. So thanks for listening to us, guys. But no, yeah, I think they had a perfect blend of everything. They had amazing returns. They had, you know, a fantastic showing for both Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, as well as a few others. And you know, I said to you, Charlotte is probably doing the Roman Reigns character of old at the Rumble, where you know you never want to see them win. So luckily she got eliminated, and it was down to them too. So I think we both said, didn't we? We were like, we are happy with either. But no, I thought it was.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
it
thought it
truly
was
would
a
have
really,
been.
really good result.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, Women's Royal Rumble, absolute stellar this year. So next match, Carl, we'll talk about, and it's a shame in some senses because this was a really good match for the most, and this is Roman Reigns going up against KO. So we'll talk straight away. Roman Reigns won. I think everyone expected Roman Reigns to win. I think everyone expected it to be a really good match as well, which for the most it was. However, we had a few around the arena spots. We noted, and we'll have to say it as much as I don't like to make the comparison, we noticed the golf cart spots, which seem to echo spots done by other rivaling companies. You know, there was some really high spots, like a perfectly executed swanton from KO there, which was really good.
The big
as well.
fall as well
But,
from the like the
obviously
scaffolding thing through the table. It's pretty good.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But we need to talk about the sort of. I don't want to say it was a botched finish, but it certainly felt like something had gone wrong there, and maybe they finished it not in the way they wanted. But I'm starting to think they finished it the way they wanted, but it just felt too soon because of how long that awkward spot was. And for those who haven't seen it, we'll mention like there was a spot where KO had handcuffed Roman to the bottom of the scaffolding tower thing, and the idea being that he wasn't physically able to stand up, so he was getting counted, and then Paul Heyman was going to come along. So Roman obviously eliminated the ref, so the count would stop. And while we had this extra bit of time, while we were waiting for another ref to come along, and I think the idea was that Paul Heyman was going to come along and unlock him out of the handcuffs, and you could clearly see that wasn't part of the plan. And the ref, who did come along, counted for a while and then just stopped counting for no reason. And it was just a really awkward couple of minutes there where it clearly gone wrong, and he wasn't able to get him out of the handcuffs as easy as I think they'd planned. But then even after we get past that bit and you go, okay, slightly awkward, but you know they've got past that bit, the match just suddenly ended after that as well. He got I don't know what his finish is called, but the submission finisher he got on KO knocked him out, and then that was that. And I think both of us were in shock, like that was that. You know, he's not getting back up, not even trying to get back up, he's just out. And it might have just been the position of the finish to that awkward botch, I suppose, but it was a really strong match until the end.
I think the referee thing didn't help, did it? So obviously he took out the first ref, which was fine, but then the replacement ref came up, and because of the whole trouble with the handcuffs, he just stopped counting, and it was like, well, like straight, and it felt it was awkward, wasn't it? Like we were like, oh, this this has gone it's a bit bad now.
That's the thing, and I know they're trying to fix things on the sly, but then they had like Michael Cole trying to I think it was Cole anyway, trying to justify it, going, well, technically he's back on his feet because Roman moved into like this crouched position, and it was like, okay, but you know, he only did that after the ref had stopped counting for a while after that. It's a shame it wasn't more cohesive, but obviously they didn't plan any of it, so
but I think,
you know, they had to react, I suppose, and the ref was in an awkward situation of like, what do I do? I can't count.
I think it was the actual combination of it following that spot. So it was like, oh, come on, it's awkward, and then straight away into the finish, and it was like, it went from super awkward to super over, and it was like, so shame.
So it was a shame, but I don't want to knock the match too much. Overall, it was a really good match. It was just a shame that it finished the way it did, I suppose. Before we move on to the main event, Carl, obviously being the men's Rumble, I know it's technically pre-show, but we'll mention that the tag titles did change hands. For some reason, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have got the titles again now. It honestly really puzzles me. I know they used it to push the Lacey Evans thing a bit more, but it really puzzles me why they put the tag titles on those two anyway for a couple of weeks, just to have Shayna and Nia win them back. I don't know. I kind of don't get it. And we've moaned before about the good female tag teams that they've had. They've pulled apart, so not really a lot of opponents for them anyway.
I think the only positive thing to come out of it is, like, I'm super hopeful we will get to see Charlotte and Lacey at Mania, because that is the match I've said for about 12 months now that I want to see. It makes perfect sense. It's a stylistic matchup. I love the pair of them together. So, yeah, I really hope we get to see that. Obviously, it's going that way. It is a shame that Rick is so heavily involved. I think we both said that. Obviously, Rick is a fantastic talent. Yeah. He is.
It didn't need it. Legend, it didn't need the Rick involvement. It didn't need this jealousy over it. It just doesn't need to be a story.
As long as that has been the build up to it, and then the match itself doesn't really focus on Rick, I think will be amazing. But we'll see. But hopefully it goes ahead, and hopefully we get to see it, because I think it's obviously we saw it on Raw, but it wasn't the best they could put on, and there was too many shenanigans. So
we need to go back to that, and I think they are definitely pushing towards that. But so I just wanted to mention that because I think that was kickoff show match, but strange nonetheless. So then men's Rumble card, we saw some good returns, not as surprising as I suppose we would have hoped, but the two notable ones in my mind were Carlito, who looked fucking awesome by the way, and Christian, which was just a surprise, and it's nice to see Edge and Christian back together, obviously for the likes of ourselves who nostalgic pop for that. So those were some of the good points. Interesting that, and we've had some debate over this during our live stream, but Edge was the number one entrant, which is incredibly relevant now because Edge actually went on to win the Rumble, so he's potentially the third person to ever win the Rumble, coming in at number one.
Edge, Shawn Michaels, and some other guy.
And he definitely came in at number one, but as we both speculated, we were under the belief that Randy was the number one entry, but he didn't come in number one, he came in number two, so they probably did it deliberately for that and changed it.
Which, to be fair, apparently they had the winner of this in advance, so I don't know why they would release the numbers and then swap them last minute unless something did happen. But no, it's one of them. I think the Rumble itself, it was good. We'll come on to the finish, but obviously you already said Carlito, I thought looked fucking fantastic. Please sign him up. If you've not signed him already, please sign him up. He looked amazing. He could definitely be a massive player in WWE for this year.
But it'd be really, don't be wrong, he wasn't in and out again, but it'd be really disappointing if that's Carlito's reappearance.
The first time seeing him since his first run, and it's like the whole Drew transformation almost. He was built like a brick shit house. He was massive. He looked really good. So hopefully we get to see him as well. We already know he's got the charisma.
I want to see him.
Christian, you mentioned, was fantastic. Kane was a surprise. To say the least.
Kane, of course, he was a surprise
as well. Damian Priest.
Yeah, we saw it.
So from Damian, maybe that's him now going to be in the main event scene. Who knows? But I think it was. I don't know. It was a really interesting selection of people towards the end, wasn't it?
I think things. We'll get onto the selection towards the end, but I think there were certain absences there as well that were a bit odd. We'll mention Randy came in number 2 with Edge. He suffered an injury about, I want to say midway, maybe slightly before midway, and was ushered to the backstage. We always know what that means. It's always some sort of fucking shenanigans. We've seen it before with Roman. I was petrified that he was going to win the Rumble on the back of this fucking stupid gimmick. But there you go. And he did rock up at the end. But luckily didn't ruin the finish. What I was really surprised at, and the reason I started mentioning Randy, is that he's meant to be in some sort of feud with The Fiend, and we've not seen The Fiend in weeks, and I thought this would be, even if The Fiend didn't rock up, they'd make some sort of nod to that, some sort of shenanigans. Randy is also no longer wearing his mask. His burns are all gone in the matter of a week, so he's got a fucking incredible doc there.
But even...
are they just dropping Randy going up against The Fiend now? Is that just done?
Even with the whole Fiend stuff as well, Alexa, she came into the Women's Rumble and teased, turning into her kind of character, and just got eliminated before it could happen. And it was kind of a bit of a letdown, really, because I think we all thought there was going to be something big either from The Fiend or from Alexa this Rumble, and we just didn't see it.
Neither got anything. Neither got anything, which is interesting. So we get to the finish, and obviously Braun came in at number 30 for some reason. We saw a return in Seth Rollins, Carl. I think it's one we forgot to note.
Yeah.
But Seth Rollins was back. I think we got to a point, you and I, where we were both kind of hopeful that it would be Seth. But Braun, almost in like a deliberate fucking fashion, comes in at number 30 and eliminates pretty much everyone we'd picked to win. So off goes Cesaro, off goes Sheamus, off goes AJ.
I was fuming.
All in quite quick succession, and we were like, what the fuck? Because these were all people who we would love to have won. I know, obviously, Sheamus and Cesaro were picks that people probably were like, well, yeah, it's unlikely, but we'd like it. But yeah, and we just see Braun come in and just ruin all my hopes, and then we're left with like Matt Riddle, Christian, Edge. Obviously, Randy's still knocking around backstage. Braun. Apologies if I'm forgetting anyone else, but like it dropped down to numbers that it's like we start then thinking about it and going, what are we going to end up with here? Not that we have anything against these guys. Daniel Bryan, sorry, was still in there as well. But not that we have anything against these guys. It's just you look at what that leads to. You know, we've got Drew as the champ and Roman as the champ, and these are all the potential opponents for them now. We obviously see Braun eliminated by like a handful of them. A few of them. I can't remember how he got eliminated, if I'm honest with you, but I was just glad he was gone. I don't want to see him in the title picture again just yet. Luckily, there was a point when I thought maybe Riddle as well. Maybe they're going to pull the trigger on Riddle, which would have been surprised at. But again, luckily we didn't get to that. And then, honestly, I was really, really rooting for Seth. We got to a point when you look at who's left, and I know some people, and I think you mentioned it, Carl, like a lot of people are favouring Daniel Bryan, but I think we can both agree that Daniel Bryan versus Roman isn't something that we personally want to see. So yeah, the winners kind of got a little bit shaky towards the end then, and certainly for us. And then what do we get? We get Seth being eliminated. We've had Daniel Bryan being eliminated, but we get Seth being eliminated by Edge. And then we're like, well, shit, it looks like Edge has won it. And then Randy sneaks in with an RKO, hitting his finisher straight away on Edge. So you're like, ooh, okay, devastating. But no, Edge eliminates him as well. So we've got Edge. Edge is the winner of the Rumble. He's going to Mania, and he's likely going to face Drew. Maybe. I don't know if he's going to be confined to a roster, but like, it honestly doesn't really. I love seeing Edge back, but it doesn't really matter which one he goes against. It just doesn't feel like I think an impactful one.
We kind of spoke about it, didn't we? I think for me, I would probably prefer to see Edge Roman, just because Edge's the babyface, Roman's the heel. Both got spears. There's more of a story to tell. I would hate to see him up against Drew personally, but I know that you said that you would prefer that matchup, particularly if it happens. So,
it's one of them. It's one of them. It's in some cases it's disappointing because I really started liking the idea, and it only came up as Seth was getting where he was in the match. I was really starting to like the idea of Seth going up against Roman. And I know you were saying like that's heel. They might not want to do that, but I was really liking the idea. They're both on SmackDown now. If he won it, he would be going up against Roman, and it just kind of was like, I can work with that. That'd be really good. So I think it just kind of made me then more disappointed when Seth was eliminated by Edge, and I'm like, I
think it's weird because I think ahead of time we were like, well, what would be the things we want to see at WrestleMania? And it was like, well, Seth versus Edge, that'd be great. And we went through everything, Sheamus and Drew. We went through loads of different things. And now, Edge has won it, and it's like, well, where does he go? But then at the same time, maybe one silver lining, we got to see Seth eliminate Daniel Bryan, which is a bit of a, because Daniel Bryan was the favourite, so maybe we'll get to see Seth and Bryan, which would be a brilliant match.
That's the thing, because Seth's not had a lot of time on SmackDown, I mistakenly thought he was still on Raw. So, it's very feasible that they could have a bit of a feud now over the next few weeks.
I think the key takeaways for me was Braun Strowman, you bastard. You eliminated like 3 guys on the bounce, Cesaro, Sheamus,
you
AJ.
Son of a bitch.
Like, you bastard. Like, honest to God, that I was devastated at that moment. 3 of the guys I would have loved to win it have gone. And then it was a bit of a just a weird finish, and I was quite vocal on the live stream, just saying that, do you know what, I'm not happy with Edge because I don't want to see him against either Drew or Roman, really. If they're going to do anything, then Roman makes sense, but he's on Raw, so how will they get there? I don't know, but weird, very weird. It's very peaks and troughs because Bianca Belair, absolutely, if they do Bianca Sasha, all over it. Fantastic booking. If
Yes.
they do Edge versus anyone, then it's a bit like, I don't know. Like, for me, it would have been, well, Randy, that wasn't going to happen, so maybe Seth, that's not going to happen. So it's like, well, he's won, so who's he face? Drew? I don't want to see that. Roman? I don't really want to see that, but I can build a story around it, so maybe. But I just don't see who it benefits, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I honestly, I think we're getting Edge Drew. Unless, there's still some pay-per-views before Mania. Like, we can't guarantee that he's going to go in as champ. I'd be surprised if he loses it before Mania, but we can't guarantee he's going to go into it as champ. They might make some changes before then, I don't know. Or they might build up some story that gets you invested more, maybe, I don't know. For me, I'm like, the only thing with the Edge Drew is, again, I'm looking at it realistically going, are we going to, like, should Drew lose? Does that feel, like, realistic? Like, I'm not, no disrespect to Edge at all, because he can certainly go in the ring, but...
I mean, no, I think it's fair. I think both Drew and Roman should steamroll Edge. Absolutely, because he is, he's been retired for years. He's come back and he's old now.
And the way the book and Drew, bear in mind, is like, this is a guy who's now rolled through both Goldberg and Brock, who
that's what I mean.
Massively strong all the time.
You can't do Edge and Drew. It just doesn't make any sense. See, you've got to do Roman, but at the same time, that won't make any sense either. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird thing. I'm not happy with it, but we'll see.
Yeah. That was the Rumble. It wasn't. It was a pretty good pay-per-view. I just think we're coming off the back of it. This is sort of our quick take of everything. So maybe our opinions will change a little bit, which you'll get on next week's podcast. But overall, I don't think it was bad by any means, but it was certainly not what we expected, especially for the men's Rumble. But shout out to the women's Rumble. It's exactly what we wanted. And yeah,
as a whole pay-per-view, I thought it was fantastic. I think it was the right balance of matches, the right story and everything.
I know this is a quick take, Carl, but if you had to give it a quick rating now, what would you give it?
It's gonna be a 4, at least, maybe even a 4.5. I think the whole, like, everything about it was good. There was the whole weird finish with the Owens and Reigns, and then there was the unfortunate thing of Edge winning, which I wasn't behind. So 4 now, maybe.
Personally, I think that's what makes it a 4 for me. I probably would give it a 4.5. Like, genuinely would give it a 4.5. Had we not have had that awkward botch, that awkward few minutes, and like you say, and I didn't get what I wanted out of the Rumble, and that is a very personal opinion. Like, a lot of people have been made up that Edge won it, and I get that, but that's 4.5 still really good. Probably, I think, the highest I've ever give. So a 4 from me as well, I think, just for those little bits that brought.
But no, I think let us know. Did you pick Edge? Are you happy? Who is Edge going to face? Let us know, because for us, we're we're in a bit of a tizzy. We're not exactly the happiest about it, but yeah, if you've got thoughts on what's going to come up, then let us know. See if you're right, and leave some comments.
But overall, guys, this is our quick take, literally just after watching the Rumble. We'll be back next week with our usual show, because obviously this week we've dropped the This Week in Wrestling and the News in favour of watching and trying our first live stream. So we'll be back with our normal programme next week. We may have some more notes on the Rumble, however brief, but certainly that's sort of how we're feeling, and that's our rating for right now, immediately after. So, that being said, Carl, I think we'll see you all next week.
Happy 4 a.m. in the morning in the UK. See you next week, guys.